You can read the name of the street on blue plates. You can read the name of the street, and above the name of the street there is a number. That number indicates in which district of Paris you are. Remember, 20 districts, 20 quarters in Paris. Do you know any French cars? Any French brand, any French make? Renault, very good. What else? E-scooters, by the way, you will see a lot of e-scooters. This is something relatively new. There are several e-scooter companies. You know, normally you need special applications, and then you can use e-scooters. A lot of electric cars as well, bicycles as well. The mayor of Paris would like to have a beautiful city. You will see there are roadworks as well in Paris. Why? Because in 2024 we're going to host the Olympic Games. The mayor of Paris would like to have a beautiful city. Just in front of you, Champs-Élysées. The very famous avenue, Champs-Élysées, to the right and to the left. See, the left-hand side you can see once again the Arc of Triumph. We're going for a round there, then we'll cover all the highlights of Paris. So the famous Champs-Élysées, remember, Champs-Élysées is about 2 kilometers long. It leads you from the Arc of Triumph in front of you to Concorde Square behind you. It is one of the most expensive avenues in the world. On the right-hand side, you know, once you're facing the Arc of Triumph from this angle, if you would like to buy an apartment on the right-hand side, you should calculate about 25,000 euro, 1 square meter. Just to give you an idea. 1 euro is like 80, I think. Okay, so let you make your calculations. What a nice view. Look in front of you. Beautiful. If you bend your head, you can see the Arc of Triumph, which is about 50 meter high. It tells you about Napoleon Bonaparte's victories. You know, it was Napoleon Bonaparte who decided the construction of the arch in order to commemorate his own glories and his great grandiose army's glories. And as well, Napoleon was expecting his second wife, Marie-Louise from Austria. Just a second, on the right hand side you can see Lido. Just, can you see in between the trees on the right hand side, L-I-D-O. The world famous extraordinary Lido show is there, blue background, L-I-D-O, Lido. So, just in front of you, once you're facing the Arc of Triumph, if you have a look on the left pillar in a minute, you will see Napoleon Bonaparte's high relief. You should definitely remember this name, Napoleon Bonaparte. I'm quite sure you've heard the name before. Our great emperor, Napoleon Bonaparte. Just some gossips. Napoleon loved his first wife, Josephine. But Josephine was a little older than Napoleon, almost 6 years older. The main problem was Napoleon and Josephine couldn't have babies together. So that was the main reason why Napoleon divorced Josephine and married Marie-Louise from Austria. And then the little baby boy was born, Napoleon II. So, however, Napoleon wanted to greet his second wife, Marie-Louise, with this Arc of Triumph. The construction lasted over 30 years. They started the construction in 1806. Let me tell you something, neither Napoleon nor Marie-Louise saw the arch completed. They passed away before. They cleaned the Triumphal Arch not such a long time ago. Remember, the arch is about 50 meter high. One can go up to the top from where there's a nice view of these 12 avenues that meet around the Arc of Triumph. Under the arch, there is the tomb of the unknown soldier from the First World War. On the right hand side, you will see it's a huge building around the corner on the right hand side. That's the embassy of the state of Qatar, the Qatari embassy. They can afford to have their embassy on this very expensive avenue. Look on the right hand side next to Cartier, the Qatari embassy. You can see the flag on the facade of the embassy to the right. By the way, you may wonder how those people manage to cross the road. It's completely forbidden to cross the square, but there is an underground passage, ladies and gentlemen, that leads you from Champs-Élysées under the arch. Inside the arch are names carved. All those names tell you about Napoleon's different military leaders and about different cities that were conquered by the emperor. Can you see? No lanes, no lanes. Look at the circus. No lanes at all. There's just something like priority to the right. But not everybody seems to respect it, and especially one has to know where one wants to go, right? Look, under the arch, this is what I've told you. Under the arch there is a tomb of the unknown soldier from the First World War. There's some flowers there. That's the grave of the unknown soldier from the First World War. Defense area outside Paris to the right. And now. Fouquet's restaurant around the corner on the right hand side with red canopy. Fouquet's. Careful with the pronunciation. Fouquet's is among the 10 best restaurants in Paris. A lot of actors, actresses, Hollywood, Bollywood stars. Thomas Cook guests go to Fouquet's. French cuisine is very nice, you know, our cuisine is very varied. France is among the biggest countries in Europe. Of course, you cannot compare to Indian dimensions, but in Europe it's rather big. So many different regions. Each region has its own speciality. Fouquet's restaurant. I would say that right after Indian cuisine, French cuisine is the best. Rohan knows me. He knows whenever I have a French group, I tell them the opposite. Right after our cuisine, Indian cuisine is the best. You see, roadworks everywhere, even here on Champs-Élysées. And the mayor of Paris would like to give Paris back to pedestrians. A lot of possibilities to ride bicycles. Around the corner on the right hand side, La Durée is famous for its pastries. On the right hand side, look, Renault shop. Chanel shop, Galeries Lafayette, all these names you know. And if you like sports, look on the right hand side next to the cinema, we can see PSG, Paris Saint-Germain, PSG, the famous French Champion League. PSG, remember we won the World Cup last year? France wins the World Cup every 20 years. Do you like football? I thought you were much more into cricket. But football is getting more and more popular, right? This square, you know, the old fountains. Now they put some modern fountains here. I don't know whether you like them. It takes time for us to get used to those fountains made of Swarovski crystal. Maybe you like them better now. Swarovski crystal. So, Roosevelt Square, as I've told you, divides Champs-Élysées into two completely different parts. Now you will see another part, which is a nice walking part of Champs-Élysées. If you plant your head, though, sitting behind me, you can already see the obelisk at the end of Champs-Élysées. And now look, please, there are two rows of trees, linden trees, the first row, linden trees. The second row of trees are horse chestnuts. You know, those chestnuts are not eatable. Those chestnuts are not eatable. If you go to the south of France, you could find eatable chestnuts. We're going to leave Champs-Élysées for a little while. Here on the right hand side, you can see Charles de Gaulle statue. Charles de Gaulle was the president who founded today's 5th French Republic in 1958. Please have a look, Charles de Gaulle statue. To the right, The half glass, half metallic cupola is what you call Grand Palais, Grand Palace, Grand Palais. Facing Grand Palais, Petit Palais. Both buildings were constructed for the World Exhibition of 1900. Both buildings house permanent and temporary exhibitions. And in front of you, you can see the most beautiful bridge of our capital, the Bridge Alexander III. So the Bridge Alexander III. Ladies, this bridge is fashion photographer's favorite bridge. Are you interested in fashion? Good. So when you look at fashion books, very often you can see pictures that are taken on this bridge, the most beautiful bridge of our capital, named after the Russian Tsar, Alexander III. And it's not solid gold. Whatever you can see on the bridge and whatever you can see on the cupola in front of you, it's not solid gold. You're not in India. Gold plated, gold plated. Oh, look at the Eiffel Tower. It must be Paris. The Eiffel Tower is there. The Green Spire, just for a second, the Green Spire in front of the Eiffel Tower is the American church. The Eiffel Tower, the old lady, that's what you call the old lady of Paris. Because tower is feminine in French. The tower, which is 324 meters high. And this year, the Eiffel Tower is 130 years old. Real celebration. They're going to paint the tower again pretty soon. They're going to remove all those 19 different layers of paint they've already used since the construction. So you saw the old lady yesterday, right? The Eiffel Tower. Was it very busy? Most visited monument, among the most visited monuments in the world, definitely. The construction lasted 2 years, 2 months and 5 days. We're going to stop somewhere, ladies and gentlemen, so that you can take some nice pictures of both the Bridge Alexander III behind you and the Invalids Dome in front of you. You know, the Invalids Dome is the very building where Napoleon Bonaparte's grave is. Napoleon Bonaparte is buried in Paris in that ex-royal church, which is in front of you. You can see the cross on top. You know, that building, the cross on top, the Invalids Dome, was built for our King Louis XIV, the Sun King of France, in the second part of the 17th century. And today, the building houses Napoleon Bonaparte's grave just in front of the golden cupola. The building with the long facade originally was a hospital built for our kings, Louis XIV's invalid wounded soldiers. Today, just a very small part of the building works as a hospital. For the rest, the building houses one of the richest army museums in the world. You know, invalids in French, invalid, wounded soldiers. Next to the wounded soldiers hospital, the king decided the construction of the royal church, the golden cupola. So that's why you call the building the Invalids Dome. The Invalids Dome. Whose grave is inside? Napoleon. Napoleon's grave is inside. I will tell you some more details about Napoleon. For the time being, it's an excellent spot for you to get down, take pictures of both the Bridge Alexander III and the Invalids Dome. You can step on the green grass, no problem. We're going to depart from the same spot in 15 minutes. Thank you. Don't speak to strangers. Thank you. On the left-hand side, on the other side of the avenue, behind them, the fence, the gate, and behind the fence, behind the gate, the presidential palace. You cannot really see. Trust me, that's where the direction of our presidential palace is, to the left. For security reasons, you cannot drive next to the presidential palace. Do you know the name of today's French president?
Emmanuel Macron.
Youngest president ever, 42. Don't mention his wife. See, you know everything, no secrets in front of you, lady. She celebrated her 66th birthday. Same difference of ages between Donald Trump and Melania. But the other way around, nobody seems to complain about that. See? So, Champs-Élysées, and now at the end of Champs-Élysées you can see Concorde, Place de la Concorde. You remember the supersonic aeroplane? Concorde, the same name. Nothing to do but the same name. Concorde means agreement. We wanted to give such a nice name to this square because this square was the Revolution Square with the guillotine. You know, during the French Revolution, Raja Louis XVI. And look around you, Concord. The guillotine stood here, and King Louis XVI was beheaded at this square. Look around you. The other side of the river, look on the right hand side, the other side of the river, the House of Parliament. Look, in the middle of the square, you can see the obelisk. Look on the left-hand side. The obelisk, the oldest monument in Paris from Egypt. Look at the Egyptian writings. 3,300 years old. Behind the obelisk to the left, lovely view of Champs-Élysées. At both sides of the from the obelisk, two beautiful fountains. So remember, the obelisk is from Egypt. It was a present by Muhammad Ali. I don't mean Cassius Clay, no, not the boxer. But the Egyptian King Muhammad Ali gave the obelisk as a present to the last king of France, Louis Philippe, at the beginning of the 1830s. Can you see the Egyptian writings? From Egypt, exactly. 8 female statues at the square. 8 female statues. All those statues represent 8 different cities, and they're more or less at the direction of those cities. Just facing you, the Navy headquarters, and next to the Navy headquarters, just in front of you, on the other side of the square, Crillon Hotel, which is next to the American Embassy. Your Prime Minister, Modi, was here a few weeks ago. He stayed in this hotel, the left-hand side in front of you. Whenever there is an American president who comes to Paris, he also stays in this hotel in front of you. And it was Michael Jackson's favorite hotel as well. Do you remember him? Michael Jackson? Passed away already 12 years ago. To the right, the Royal Gardens. The Royal Gardens designed for the Louvre Palace. You see, this is what I mentioned, those female statues represent Rouen, Marseille, Bordeaux, Strasbourg, Lille, Lyon, the biggest cities of France. Concord is the name of the square. It was a royal square. In the 18th century, during the French Revolution, they demolished the statue, which was in the middle of the square, a royal statue. Look at the American Embassy. To the left, you can see the American flag just for a second next to Crillon Hotel. So the square had 3 different functions throughout the centuries. Royal Square, Revolution Square, and today Concord. Maxime's on the left-hand side, Maxime's restaurant. To the left. You know, in front of those restaurants, sometimes if you see all those policemen, because if the yellow, sometimes those hooligans can be mixed with the yellow vest demonstrators, and sometimes what happened that on Saturdays they broke into those restaurants or into those shops. So now the owner of the shops or restaurants are afraid, okay, because of the hooligans, black bots, that's what you call them, mixed with the yellow vest demonstrators. So here, this area leads to world fashion. One of the fashion streets in Paris. To the left, Hermes. To the left, keep on watching, you can see Chanel, Christian Dior, Gucci, all these names, ladies and gentlemen know. In front of you, Magdalene Church. Magdalene Church, dedicated to Mary Magdalene. On the left-hand side, maybe not too many Christians among you. Once again, it is a Christian church. Looks like a beautiful Greek temple with its Corinthian columns here to the left. To the right, Kenzo, the name of this Japanese fashion designer who lives in Paris. Kenzo, Decathlon, IKEA, all these names to the right. This is the Grand Boulevard. The Grand Boulevard leads you to the Opera House. Can you see these electric cars? Look, these electric cars, very important, because as I've told you, the mayor of Paris would like to forbid petrol or diesel cars, right? She wants electric cars, she wants e-scooters, she wants pedestrians. She would like to give Paris back to pedestrians. So pretty soon, maybe no petrol cars anymore. Next year there will be mayor elections. She's not so popular, a lot of roadworks. She doesn't want tourist buses either. Count on me, I'm not going to vote for her. No way. The left-hand side, Olympia Theatre. Olympia Theatre. Famous French and foreign singers perform on the stage of Olympia Theatre. To the left-hand side. So now we're going to show you the Opera House in a few minutes. Gap, you know the name. Boucherie, jewelry stores. Cartier, look on the left-hand side. All these jewelry stores. I know in India you've got everything. You've got diamonds, you've got jewels, you've got everything. Behind the scaffoldings, an excellent cafe de la Paix. Very, very famous for its seafood. Cup of coffee would cost you €9. Reasonable cup of coffee. Look at the Opera House. Look on the left-hand side. One of the most important landmarks in Paris. The Opera House. The official name of the building is the National Academy of Music. The Opera House. On the green cupola, you can see Apollo, the god of arts, the god of music. Once again, it's always the same story. It's not solid gold. The opera house is called Garnier Opera, because the architect of the opera was this famous French architect called Charles Garnier. The steps of the opera mean a good meeting point for people who live in Paris and for tourists as well. The opera house, look here to the left hand side.